Aloha. Today, I just wanted to do a quick video. I just woke up from one of the most intense dreams I've ever had. I just wanted to share the dreams because I had some real insight, and I had some insight while I was in the dreams at the same time that actually woke me up. I'll start from the beginning. That's from the beginning that I remember. I remember somebody lost a dog, and they were really sad about it. And that's the theme for all these dreams, is everybody was in some kind of sadness, some kind of like something, yeah, it was something devastating was going on. And so all these are metaphors when you're talking about dreams. Anyway, I just want to go with it so I don't forget the dreams. So I was in the Oakland Hills, walking up the freeway. It's the 13 up there. It's a tunnel. It was a tunnel on the 13 in the dreams. And there was a cement path. You can walk from one side to the other. There was a passageway. And I could walk in the middle. I was looking for the dog because they thought I went on the freeway. I walked from one side up the hill to the other side. Got to the other side, and there was a cop standing outside the door. I thought I was going to get in trouble, but for some reason I knew that I wouldn't. Like, he was just going to let me go. And there were some kids on the other side who had just gotten in trouble for being on the freeway, but for some reason I had just got off the freeway, walking on the center of it, looking for that dog, and he was going to let me go. So he actually opened the door and acted like I really didn't exist. And I looked, I walked, I looked to my left, and there was a big group of cops that were in a firefight. It had to have been at least 100 cops firing into this cabin. And I think I knew the individual that was in that cabin. I remember hearing the main cop say it was just a traveler. He was just in there and wanted to be, and then he fired on some people, and then everybody was just kind of like, the cops, I couldn't see the cabin or anything. And there was this one like cowboy cop, middle-aged black lady, kind of heavy set. She was standing in the middle. And all the cops were like, "Why are you just standing up? You should take cover." And she was being real like cowboy. And then I remember thinking like, oh, she's in charge. This must be her thing. And she actually said fire, and they started firing on the cabin. And then I remember thinking like because there were civilians in the cabin too. I was like, what the fuck are they firing for? Stupid. And then they fired back, and I remember seeing some people get hit, but there was no blood. They didn't and that was suspicious to me, so I walked away. I kind of felt like it was in a dream or a movie or some sort, so I walked away. This was at the beginning of me starting to become lucid in the dream. And then I walked, I don't know which one was next, because I was like up and down, I kept going. The next one I remember that just popped up was it was nighttime. That was daytime. This was nighttime now. I was in another location. It's like a school grounds. Yeah, it was a campus of some sort. And I remember looking up in the sky, and I first saw the moon was far away, and I saw 2 moons. And I was like, oh shit. And I started running. I was with some friends. I was with a friend of mine from high school. And then I started running to my classroom where some students were in the classroom, even though it was nighttime. I knew they were there. So I ran in there and I said, hey, you guys, I said, though these are words, I said, you guys want to see an avatar? Because somebody else said avatar outside, but what I was thinking was, do you want to see, I was going to say 2 moons, like, did you want to see the moon? And as I was running, I forgot this, as I was running, the moon was changing in the distance. It was getting closer and bigger and kind of like what's the word? Like holotope? For some reason I want to say holotope. But anyway, it just kept moving around and it was getting bigger and farther away. And then sometimes there was like 4 or 5, but you can tell they were like reflections. And I remember saying to somebody before I got into the classroom, saying, explaining to them that they weren't flat earthers. And this is crazy. I just remember this now. Somebody tried to explain what it was, because I don't know if this was before or after, but anyway, I remember hearing somebody say avatar as I was running, and they were talking about the moon. And I ran into the classroom and said, do you guys want to see an avatar? And one of the students in there came out with me first, because she was like, yeah. So we ran out and we were looking at it. Oh, it was after, now I remember. We're looking at it. I stood up on this like little cement seating area post, and then we're seeing it move as if it were in a lens or something, and you could see like the moon was like the solid state moon was there, and then the other part of the moon, it was like other moons. It kept moving around, and then somebody tried to explain what it was based upon the heliocentric model. And somebody asked me, and then I said, well, I see my reality from the flat earth perspective. And then I said, what I see is that could be just like a reflection off of the dome, if there were a dome. And I was kind of hesitant in the dream because I knew they were, or I felt like they were going to be like completely like, I don't, not believing me or anything, or thinking I'm crazy or something. But in that moment, I kept going with it, because I'm like, well, the fucking moon, there's like 8 moons in the sky, and it looks like it's a reflection all over the place. That's crazy. So why would I give a shit if they think I'm crazy? So I was like, yeah, it just looks like actually there's a moon, but even that moon that looks like a solid moon doesn't look like a moon right now. It just looks like there's a whole bunch of them all over the place. And like I said, the first time I saw it, it was like far away. It was tiny. And I remember that's what happened. My friend was in the valley, not the valley, but like the little grassy area. And I remember signaling to him, and and before I ran to the classroom, I said, hey, look, see, I told you. Because I was telling him before, this is a friend that recently had passed, and he was also a theme in all of these dreams, in and out, all of these locations. This is the most intense shit ever. He recently passed within the last year. And I signaled to him, then I ran off. And told the students, and I told them that part, and we started talking about that. And as I was talking about the dome, that's when things got a little shaky, but you could still see it so clearly. I mean, it was like so close as can be. And it was just a whole bunch of them all over the reflection, or just like it was weird. You could see through some of them, but it was just really weird. So, anyway, the next part, before I forget it, because I'm not going to forget the last part, that actually woke me up, before I forget this part. Oh shit, I almost forgot it, damn it. Oh, okay. I almost forgot it. I remember explaining, because this was before the last part of the dream that actually woke me up, and so I was in, oh shit, I went off. I was in a courtroom. Or actually, I was in like a city hall, and then I was with somebody, and I was explaining to somebody what that place is. I was explaining to them what their dream world is, and oh man, it was just one person, and we were going into a courtroom, and I was explaining to them, this place is like your dream place. This is a place where you can, wherever you think the rules and regulations, the laws, everything, it's your world. You can, as long as you, I didn't really go into that the depths of that was sent telepathically, but I really just explained, like, this is your dream world. And when you say the word dream world, the individual, he understood, and it was like the explanation of, you can do anything, you can create everything, imagine it, all of that was sent telepathically. So and I was going to give an example of what it is. So we walked in to a courtroom. Before that, it was like an empty room, very detailed. This whole thing is. Walked into the courtroom, and my friend that I went to school with was sitting in court. He was the one that was being that the court was talking about, and I remember telling him, watch this, the person we were walking in the court with, and I said, you're gonna have to drop all charges on this, and the lawyers were looking at me like, who the fuck is this guy? And then this is funny, afterwards my friend just got up off the stand and then walked off, and then as we were walking out, the judge said something to the extent of, it wasn't case dismissed. It was like it wasn't recess either. We're gonna go to recess. It was something like in between recess and case dismissed. I don't know the terminology, but it was like, he's pretty much free. He can leave because because I was there, and he knew it too because he was smiling. So he got up and got off the stage and walked out with me, and then the other guy was just like, oh shit, man, that was crazy. And as we got out, it was funny how I've never been this kind of in this state in a dream. I remember saying, I'm rich, bitch, as we got out, because that whole court scene was just like so rotten. It was like the bad part of like the cops shooting at the cabin. It was like, it was so bad. I can't remember. I just remember feeling it, and would never really, like, be that into myself in real life. But the, I was just trying to keep it from turning off. It was overwhelming how lucid I felt in that place, and I was just like, I knew that I wasn't going to, like, I knew everything was fine, like everything was okay, even though everything was so, like, unstable. That's what it felt like, unstable. But I knew everything was fine from my perspective. Everything was fine, just as confident as I was telling that guy, like, we can just go in there and get him off the stage, and then it'll just adjust to you. It'll adjust to your foundation, like your energy. That's what it was. So the surroundings adjusted to your energy. So, but it was being perceived from a reality perspective. So that's that's how you can just, like, walk in there, and then as long as you're in your space, as long as you're in your harmonics, then you can do it. So anyway, that's all I was perceiving from that dream. The next part of the dream was, or the next space, there's one more. I almost had it, because we were somewhere, and my friend from that passed recently was in that part too, and something was, we were talking, I can't remember what it was. I just remember we were talking about something, and then he disappeared right when, like, the good part happened. And he said he had went to the store. He went to Home Depot. Oh, this is crazy, because the last intense dream I had with him, it was actually two of them. It was at Home Depot. So maybe this is, I'll think about that later. But man, what are we talking about? It had to do something with the moon again. It was, we were explaining the moon, and it had appeared or something like that. It was some kind of explanation, or that. Hopefully I remember it after the next part. So the next part I really remember, because it was right before I woke up. We were in this, before it turned into like a party area. I walked up to, and it was real quiet, because we were walking up to this guy who felt like almost the Oracle from the Matrix, but he wasn't. He was just a guy, but he still kind of had that same kind of qualities like the Oracle in the Matrix. His name was David Young, and he had white hair. He was an older white guy, and he was like a homeless man on the streets. And he didn't used to be homeless. He was he was like an oracle of some sort, but not like the Oracle in the Matrix. It was like a really intense oracle. This guy was like a dollar store oracle or something like that. Shoot. So not like bad, just like intensity style. Anyway, but he was like, he's still an oracle. So I remember meeting him before, and I remember telling the people, hey, I know that guy. Man, he looks different. He looks bad. He looked like he had been through some shit. And I remember saying, is he okay? And then the girl I was with, she said, no, he's sick. And he had just finished talking with somebody. And he was kind of talking with himself. It looked like he was talking with himself, but he might have been talking to somebody. I think he was talking to somebody that was kind of like invisible. It felt so fucking weird. But I remember all of it. So, we were waiting to allow somebody else that we were with. The girl was talking to me, and then we were talking about like letting the person that we were with go talk to the Oracle. And this was a city park area, and the Oracle sitting on like a bench, and that's where you go talk to that person. And I was actually gonna go talk to him, to go help him out after she told me, like, update on him, on his health status, and catch up and everything. And then I was just like, no, no, no. As I was sitting there, I started to get like a download from him, and that's where all this information came in, as far as like the details of everything. And then that dream was gonna play out on its own, and I looked to the other side of the park, and there was this jacuzzi, or a spa, whatever you want to call it. I think it's just a jacuzzi. And there was leaves in it, and there were people standing around there, and I knew all these people. And before, this is what happened. I remember I had no pants on. I had a shirt on. I had no pants on. And then while I was talking to the girl in the park about the Oracle, and I remember she looked down and looked up, kind of embarrassed, and I looked down and looked up, and I was like, so what? I don't have any pants on. I don't give a shit. And then she was like, okay, well, if you don't care, I don't care. So I kept talking, because this is getting really crazy. This links back to the dream before. It's about you holding your space, and you can't hold your space if you're not balanced or set in your reality. And everything in the dream space is designed to throw you off and take you out of your focus. When you're in your waking space, you're in a focus because you are naturally balanced, this body with the positive and the negative. How I'm seeing it before I get into the last part of the dream, how I'm seeing, because this is part of that, how I'm seeing it is that this body represents the lightest of the light and the darkest of the dark, or the positive of the positive and the negative of the negative. And the dream space is really just the negative of the negative. And everything that you can imagine, that it can come to reality, but there's something missing. There's something missing in that world. And I don't want this to go off before the next dream. There's something missing in that world. And what happens is you can have everything, like it can come, but it's unstable. It's not stable. It's so vast and all over the place. It's weird. Anyway, so I'll get to explaining it more after the dream. So I finish saying what I'm saying, and then the guy that we were with, when I was talking to the girl, he was gonna go sit down with the Oracle because it was time. And then when I saw that, I started walking over to the jacuzzi, and then some shorts just magically appeared on my body as I turned and moved. So I got into the jacuzzi, and I'm sitting in water, and everything felt different. I was the first one in the jacuzzi, and because there was like leaves in it, and that's why people weren't getting in, because they thought it was dirty or something. But as soon as I got in there, all the leaves disappeared, and the jacuzzi turned on, and then all these people started to get into the jacuzzi, and we were talking, and I knew all these people. I remember this is where I got really lucid, and I started to be able to think in the dream. I could feel and think in the dream. And I started to explaining to one guy what that space is. I said, this place is, it feels like it's your dream space. I was explaining the dream world to them. And just before that, I was inside the house somehow. And I was walking through the house. This was something else. Oh, what happened in there? Anyway, so I'm walking through the house. Whatever. The guy that was in the jacuzzi, he was the same. Like this was like a party now. So people were all over the place, and man, something else. I remember a really nice house before the jacuzzi. Anyway, because what was said in the house was the same that was said inside the jacuzzi, and to the same person. This is why I was trying to remember it, because there was something else to it. But anyway, so I'm sitting in a jacuzzi. There's all these people in there. And as soon as I started explaining to this one guy what the dream world is, these other people got up out of the jacuzzi. They started walking away. And I didn't really know them, but I knew him. And this was a different person. I don't know him in real life, but I knew him like I was familiar with him. Like a brother or a cousin or something like that, or brother cousin something. And he was really like, tell me what's up with this place. And I was like, man, this place is it's not real. I mean, it's real, but it's not real. This is and I remember looking across the party, and everybody, wow, this is fucking crazy now. I remember as I was telling him and looking up across the party, I remember saying, I should tell them too. I gotta tell them. So I said, as we were walking, as we were getting up out and walking towards him, I was saying, man, this place is, it's completely out of balance. It's like you can create anything you want here. This is completely, but some like really fucked up things can happen here because there's no balance. And actually, he's the one who finished that statement. I said it differently. I said, this place is like based on like your most intense potential imagination, but it's. And I got to that point, and I said, you can create anything. And I was thinking at the same time, I wanted to explain like a flavor, like taste. Something's missing. That's what I kept saying. Something is missing. You can't really. It's not tangible in some kind of way. It's so hard to explain with these. There's no words to really explain like the information that was being telepathically shared in that dream. So I remember just saying like, it's so much different here. Like that's how when you explain emotion and passion and like tone, more information gets sent telepathically in the dream world, and I'm pretty sure that's what happens in the waking space too. But anyway, I just remember saying, man, this place is wonderful. Like, we were just in a fucking jacuzzi and it's beautiful. Like, look around. Like, by me explaining stuff like that, he was getting what I was saying. And then that's when I really got that he got what I got, what I was talking about in the dream. And that's when he finished what I was saying and said, there's no balance. You don't really have everything if you don't have a balance. And I said, yeah. And I was telling them, we gotta go tell these other people. And then they gathered around to where that bench was, where the oracle was sitting. And it was like 6 or 7 people. And they were sitting down. And the oracle guy was still there for a second. I don't know if he was still there, but it was feeling really unstable because I was getting ready to wake up. But I felt some kind of like whiteness there, which I think it was the oracle guy. So they gathered. One person had, I think it was the Oracle guy, had like a white umbrella with no like webbing on it. It was just it was just a like wire. It was weird. Anyway, the point being is that I was going to explain to them that this world, I was going to tell them what I just told the guy. And this, I was waking up at this point. I was trying to hold it. I was like, no, let me explain it to them. Let me explain it to them. But I was waking up and it gave me unstable. And I kept just saying like, oh, okay, I don't really have to tell them. I really kind of already got the gist of what it is. And as I'm waking up, I'm coming back into body thinking, oh, maybe I'm just supposed to tell like myself and expand upon it and then share it with people out here, share it with the dream space, because somebody had just recently asked about dreams and cannabis effect on dreams, and then somebody else made a comment about how dreams fit, and they're like okay with it and everything. And I had been wanting to do a dream or a cannabis video and how it affect my dreams, because I hadn't smoked in so long. Anyway, so as I was waking up, I was piecing this all together because I usually do my videos in the morning. Anyway, and want this to change again. So that's when I was thinking, oh well, this would be really good to explain. But I was so I woke up like 3 times and went straight back into that same kind of vibration, location, dream space. And this time it was so familiar. It was so familiar because I just did it like 3 times that I kind of remember from waking up throughout the night. So it's like going in and coming back so I can anchor it here and remember it on a deeper level. This is another thing that that I didn't have when I was even my first time smoking and trying to remember my dreams. But even when I was remembering my dreams when I was smoking, I never went this deep into the spaces. And I think that's what cannabis really has an effect on, is itself is a vibration. We have a balance to that vibration, but that vibration in itself is it has a maxing out point. From what I know now, it might change in the future, but from my genuine feeling about it is there's a in relation to the potential that you have from not at least smoking cannabis, because you have the cannabinoids. That's what I was saying. There is a balance. So we have endocannabinoids in our body that are like anchor points for cannabis. So there's a relationship there. But your body as a maximum, like an engine in itself, those endocannabinoids can be like a fuel tank, can be seen as like a fuel tank, and the cannabis can be like a fuel. But the fuel is not the car. The fuel is just fuel. And the car itself can run on free energy, in a sense, or water. You know what I'm saying? Like it can make you, and you can drive forever. But if you're consistently using and I've never explained it like this before, but it makes a lot of sense to me now. If you just keep filling your tank, your endocannabinoid fuel tank up with cannabis, then you'll have to go in and out over and over again over time, when eventually you have the potential to you have the potential to run on free energy, go as far as possible. Go wherever you want to go. And that's what happens when you don't smoke cannabis and just go from like a pure state of engaging in your reality, because you're literally creating it. So you're bringing like the potential of that dream space, like that you have in dream space that I explained earlier in the video. You have that, but here, and that's a different. That's like, so you're bringing in the intensities of the magnetic realm, and you're bringing in the maximum intensities of the electric realm, and they're anchoring here in your in your waking state moment. And that's the balance. That's the divinity of this reality. That's the sacredness of of this everlasting moment in this physical body. And that's one thing I wrote down earlier that I wanted to address in the video too, is when we are convinced to have like a God, like that God-fearing and God-hating pretty much sort of thing, when they say, oh, well, if God could do, he's all powerful and almighty, why does he let wars happen and all this other stuff happen? And that's another way, that's another program to separate you from that energy, from yourself, pretty much, from your spirit energy and connection to all that is, and the Most High Spirit, to separate you with low vibrations, so something else can be installed. And this is how I'm seeing it from this dream, this last selection of dreams. Excuse me. The magnetic space is just where everything is coming to you. And if you get good at everything coming to you, then you can move it around. But it's not about that. That's like a service to self in a sense. The electric energy is a service to others. But you can't be one or the other in from reference to this physical reality. The true balance is to have both. In order to take care of others, you have to take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others. And if you're only taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of the others. And if you're only taking care of others, you're not taking care of yourself. So that's an imbalance. So in the electric and magnetic state, you have the sun and the moon. And this is, I'm glad I went into this, because I was explaining this in the dream telepathically to the crew, which is when I started waking up after I talked to the guys. I said, I started explaining light. That's when I started waking up in there. And I said, as I was waking up, I was telling them, you can't have the stars or the light without the backdrop of the darkness, the space. You can't have that. You can't have one or the other. If you just had a whole fabric of starlight, then you wouldn't be able to see any of the stars. And if you just had all darkness, you can close your eyes in that darkness and create your reality in a dream, but you'll still be in that darkness. So, and it won't taste the same. It won't be real. So I think that's really what's going on. And the balance is here, is that you can close your eyes and create like an imaginary world or universe, and that's actually what's happening in our waking space. And the imbalance here is that this is a patriarchal illusion, but it's really based upon the matriarchal system. So the illusion is that they're providing for you, but we're really in a dream space, because this is the material realm, or matter, or ma'at, and it's weird that I haven't really put it to words like this, but like it's the balance on one side of the plate of ma'at, and we're sitting on like the magnetic side of that plate. But the way that you can have the illusion of balance is that if you're sitting completely on only the magnetic side of the plate, but you yourself who's sitting on that plate is of a totally electric frequency, which is a total like service to self, which is what this illusion is based on. So this is the illusion within the illusion. You're sitting on the material realm, which is like Mother Earth, or this negative moon frequency, as the sun, but that's not that's not the universal balance. That's the illusory balance. But it feels like balance the way it is. That's how this alchemy of this system has been working. I'm just throwing this together because this is how it feels, and I'm just going with it. So, but we've completely missed out on the service to self part, or the service to others part, that is the service to self, which is the universal electric energy, the other side, the other plate, the true electric energy, the true masculine system, not this out of balance version. Calling it's like a machismo man. That's not a real man. Like doing stuff in reference to like the American dream version of a man doesn't make you a man. Like there's an essence to the divine masculine that is completely being destroyed by this system, just like the essence of the divine feminine is being completely manipulated. It's being amplified in a destructive way, which is another way of destruction. But they're still paying homage or energy to her. So that's why. So anyway, you see where I'm coming from. So basically, this is about balances, and what I got out of these dreams is like the sun energy and the moon energy, and the balances between all of them. And when you pass on as like yourself, your true self, which is your balances. But you manifest as a sun into the next vibration once you balance out your sun and moon energy here, but really tap into your sun energy, yourself. You find yourself. When you find yourself, that's when you are done with this vibration and can find yourself in the next vibration, the next density. And the dream realm is a place where you can go back and see parts, flickers of yourself through experience. But it's so unstable because it's just your subconscious. Like it's just your pure creative foundation space But if you have, that's like the colors in reference to needing like the black and white, like how your eyes see the rods and the cones. The cones are really just seeing the color, and they can see color really intensely, but there's something missing because the rods are actually responsible for the black and the white, the light itself, the dark light and the bright lights. And there's more rods than there are cones. Actually, it might be. Anyway, I can't remember which side it was, which side it is with the rods and the cones. Black and white, and then the colors, and there's more rods and which are black and white than there are cones, which are color. It's a balance between the two. And in this world, we are taught to fear or hate the majority of energy, which is the light and the dark, and focus solely on the colors, the cones. And we're missing 2/3 of our reality, light energetically, because we're focused only on one half at best, or one version of reality, 1/3 of our reality, that has been manipulated to look like full, to feel like fullness, but it's not fullness. It's fullness in a thirdness. So, that's pretty much it. There was other chunks and parts of the dream, but I can't pull them back now. And they might come back later and I'll write them down and reference them, but this is what I needed to share right now as far as the dream space in that moment, and the balances. So the balances are really about how if you can't stay in your power in your waking state, you're not going to be able to stay in your power in your dream space. And if you have zero power in your waking space, like true energetic power, then you won't even be able to tap into your dreams. And that's what actually happens, is you turn that world off. You're still dreaming because you still need the balance of that world. But you just won't be able to bring that information or that energy back in any kind of amplified version. We're all baseline going into that space every night, which is largely why we go to sleep, to reconnect to something that we are literally anchored to by the physical life force energy that's awake in some kind of way. But that's not everything. Your dream space is not everything. Like this is the out of whackness that happens where people think that they want everything. They think that they're in control of everything, and they are so different, so separated from spirit and the focus of that spirit energy, which is your meaning and purpose for being here, why you're here. And I hear all the time people talking about, we're not meant for this place. Why am I here? Why is this going on? And then reconvincing themselves that, oh yeah, well, there's a purpose. That's not a true understanding. That's not a true connection. Like it's you. It's still heavily artificially ego anchored when you're doing that. You have to challenge yourself to go deeper and realize and find that purpose and find that meaning. As fucked up as things are, it's the hardest thing to do. But at the same time, you have that, like you've been equipped with the consciousness to perceive this experience. And if there are gaps in your total body, not just your, like, everybody, your total body, then it will be perceived as something that is wrong, and then that energy is realized by the illusory system, and they manipulate it into, it gets manipulated into the separation program. And the biggest one is the separation from spirit. Then you get the separation from nature. Then you get the separation from each other. Then it goes on and on and on and on. And eventually you get separated from your dreams, and then that's when you have completely powerless beings who are actually super powerful, realizing that you are the bridge between your waking and sleep space. You're beyond waking and beyond sleep space. All of your incarnations in this one experience. So what is the true potential of that divine harmonics, which is the balance between the masculine, divine feminine in the physical body? Because I'm starting to realize more so what the dream world is and the subconscious is. Because it's not just these dreams, like these last few days have been really intense dreams too. But like, I've had a few flying dreams. I've been becoming really lucid. And in that lucid space, I'm not just flying around, I'm actually feeling out what the place is, like what's going on here. And if I wasn't, excuse me, if I wasn't lucid enough in my waking state, I wouldn't be able to get any information in the dream space. Or do any of that stuff. So this is why it's really important to remember your dreams and find some clarity here overall. And to finish that thought, the having everything. So the people that have everything, the so-called celebrities and all that stuff, they're empty inside. They don't really have anything. They have everything in an illusion. That's why so many of them are so unhappy. And that's basically like being trapped in the dream realm, is that you can have everything, but it doesn't taste the same. It's not... You don't really have everything, because you have everything in an out-of-balanced reality. And when you have everything in an out-of-balanced reality, you start to realize that you really have nothing. And then once you start to balance your reality on every level and see the balance of the once perceived imbalanced reality, then that's when you start to gain everything. And that's what these celebrities will never have. And this is what the people that have come from nothing to find themselves will always have. It will never leave them. Because the artificial reality is the dream. There's something missing. It's like being able to eat fast food for the rest of your life for free. Congratulations. But there's always that but, the big but. Eventually it'll dry out, it'll go stale. And like that McDonald's test, it won't look stale. But in reality, that burger and fries is like 10 years old. and you can't really eat it. It looks alright, but it's old and dry, and there was never any nutrients inside of it. I think I'm going to end it there. I was trying to expand as far as I can go from this dream so I can remember all the parts of the dream. That's why I was kind of like adding to it, but also adding to the video too, but expanding upon the dream space and the whole experience of balance. Because that's really what I personally got from it was this like monumental sort of dream where I had never experienced anything like that, where I was so lucid that nothing was affecting me, and there was still a storyline. Like the first one with looking for the dog and then walking on the freeway and realizing what the freeway was and being on that like cement center barrier, and then walking up to that doorway knowing that cop was just gonna open it, and I knew I was gonna be in trouble, but I just held the space, kind of like the Force, like he does, like nothing to see here sort of thing. That's actually what it was. And he was just more focused on the kids who were just like really emotional, like come on, and then looking to my left and on the other side, and then seeing that whole shootout go on, and then that one lady standing there being real stupid because everybody was like, get down, and she was like all cowboy, like, no, we're gonna handle this situation. And then it was like that was her dream, she was in charge of that, and I was just like, well, that's stupid, because all these people she probably killed some innocent people in that cabin when she told them to fire. And then they fired back, and I saw some of the cops get hit too, and then that was stupid. And then realizing that there was no blood there on the cops, but I saw them getting like carried away by the other cops, and then that pushed me deeper into realizing the dream, and then having my friend who recently passed be in like 3 out of the 4 dreams that I remember, and him having a theme there too, like he was in that world more so than I was. Like I'm still anchored here. But that creative space, that dream realm where it's kind of unstable, it's another transition point, just like your waking space is a transition. You're in a constant transition. You're always moving. This is why I say when people are talking about, oh, why am I here? What's going on? And this place is not designed for us. It's like, what kind of fucking thing is that to say? Like, what? I can see what you mean by that. But whose mouth is saying that? Whose brain tissue is saying that? Yeah. This is why I have such difficulty with the new age environment, the new age world. It creates another separation that disconnects you from so many things and reconnects you and connects you with something, another out of balance reality. Being completely lost in the stars and your star family and that whole thing is no different from the separation that somebody has when they are completely focused on only themselves, only the material reality, only getting money, only being famous or successful. It's just another extreme imbalance. If you don't come back to the center mass and see that those are just the illusions, they are the illusions. And it's not that hard to realize that the so-called New Age is being manipulated by the illusion itself to create another extreme. Because the old ways of extreme are running dry, and they need a so-called new way to do it. There's nothing new. Everything is and always was what it is right now, just in a different vibration. Just like you are and always will be your same focus, just in a different vibration, in a different experience, in a different density. And if you center yourself right now, if you are having a waking meditative moment right now and realize that you in this moment have a purpose, you have a meaning. This body might be sick, you might have some things wrong here and there, but this body is not the you that you are. It's part of the you that you are. And it's just another vibration that we can bring up. And that has this, it's susceptible to be brought down. But that has nothing to do with the overall experience itself. When you second guess the experience, you're second guessing the creator of that experience. So I don't give a shit if you second guess it from the worst of the worst, talking about, oh, this place is so war, there's so much war all over the place, it's not meant for us. You're not second guessing the experience, you're second guessing the Most High Spirit. That's why I say the New Age environment and that mentality ain't no different than somebody worshiping themselves in the physical reality, in the monetary illusion, in the service of self mentality is no different. It's just another form of imbalance. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. That's why I said that's the whole intent, and I'll end it on this. It's all, when people are talking like that, that's my main point. If it's what people understand is perfect, you can't have balance and like that perfection. It's good if balance is a constant growth. You want perfection, it's based upon your version of perfection, which is like the dream realm, which is unstable. It's unstable because your mind is forever growing, and if you want something of perfection, that's a line. It's a linear perspective. But perfection is in everlasting expansion and growth. That's true. The balance is that idea of perfection, to be in harmonics. It's like hitting a tone as a song, or your song, or singing a song. If it's out of tune, if you're constantly hating a reality, it's out of tune if you're constantly loving a reality. Not in the floaty love term, but in the out of balance positive energy term. Like positive, it's out of balance if you're more negative. It's out of balance if you're all positive. the harmonics of the moment is the balance. To be centered in that reality. So that's basically it. If I remember the next part of those dreams, I'll bring it back or write it down. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Until next time, from All Around Relations, peace, love, and harmony.